seen some pushback online about a woman called Remi Bader. She's a 30-year-old plus-size influencer.
Back again with another realistic Zara haul. This is extremely rude. All right, not horrible. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stunning.
Who's recently lost a large amount of weight. Now, her story starts in 2020, actually, when she started recreating celebrity outfits. She was at that time about a size 20, and these were such great videos because she'd take paparazzi photos of a celebrity that was much smaller than her, and she would recreate an outfit for a woman her size. And then she started filming what she called realistic shopping haul try-ons, where she would go to Zara or somewhere like that, and she would show what clothes really look like on a larger body. And the tone of the videos were humorous. She was a really great content creator, a little bit like Celeste Barber, but she sort of took the piss out of the fashion industry, but also took the piss out of herself by trying on things that were really not designed for her curves. And she built millions of followers like that. And as her audience grew, she was invited to influencer events and she got sponsorship deals with brands. But she never made any secret of the fact that she wasn't happy with her body. And she posted a video in September 2023 where she said she's getting so much body shaming commentary that she wouldn't be sharing any information about her weight going forward. So it wasn't an easy story of her being a body positive plus size influencer. And many people have commented that those two things can both be true, that you want to call the fashion industry to account and society to account, but because of everything that's been internalized and the reaction that you get in the world, you also have very complex feelings about your own body. Anyway, in 2024, she quietly but very noticeably began to lose a lot of weight, and she blocked anyone that commented on it and didn't speak about it publicly until a couple of weeks ago when she gave an interview to Khloe Kardashian on her podcast, and she admitted to having weight loss surgery. Here's some of what Remi said.
Me is that there was a newer surgery, which is what I did. And what everyone online, of course, at this point, everyone's like, okay, well, she did one of the shots or she did the sleeve or something. Like, no one guessed this because it's not a known thing. So new. So it's called Sadie. I feel like I've had this pause on myself of like, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do until this is out there. And I always knew that I would put not just the relationship stuff, the surgery, the everything. I knew it would be put out there. I didn't know that it would affect me this much, and I didn't know by not talking about it. And I think it's just the person I am. Like, I still need to be somewhat of an open person. That's how I am, and I don't want to feel like I'm living and walking on eggshells. And I do have a lot to say, and I do have a lot to share while still keeping those boundaries. So I do, and I'm hoping that this like releases some of that a little bit.
So what are people actually angry about?
What they say they're angry, I mean, different people are angry about different things, but the criticism, the main part of the criticism, and there's been big backlash against her, they say it's not because she lost the weight, but because she wasn't transparent and didn't tell them what was happening all along the way. Rachel Richards writes a newsletter called Highly Flammable, which is great, and she wrote about it this week, and she pointed out that audiences don't see content creators as people. They view them as brands, and they think of themselves as a shareholder in that brand, which is kind of chilling.
So what you mean in this context then is that, so Remi Bader was a brand. She had all these followers who probably a large proportion of them were maybe were plus size and found her inspirational and instructional and all those things. And now she's changed her product, as it were, and they feel like she has somehow tricked them.
Yes. So they claim that it's not the fact that she's even changed the product, but that she didn't disclose when she had the surgery and didn't take them on the journey all the way along. And we've talked about parasocial relationships before and how they can be problematic because you feel like you know somebody, and then when that person cuts off some of the information to you, you can feel quite angry or quite betrayed. We saw it happen with Heather Armstrong, who was the OG mummy blogger, and she posted about her family a lot and had a blog called Deuce. And when she got divorced and didn't tell her followers exactly why she was getting divorced and sort of pulled back, they turned on her, and she never really recovered from that. It took her life a few years ago, but her brand never really recovered because it was this idea of entitlement that we we made you successful, therefore you work for us. Almost like a local member, a politician who represents their constituents, and they feel entitled to answers and information.
And it's like if they were a brand, if they were a product, then they might want their money back, right?
Yes.
But these people have often never exchanged any money. So what they want back is an interesting...
Yeah, what do they want back?
Time, I want my investment. I want my energy, my admiration, I want an apology. I think that you owe me something. Because... this idea of people as brands is new, and Naomi Klein has written about this at length, and it's fascinating what she says, because the second a person becomes a brand, it means that they can no longer evolve. There is no opportunity for change. A brand is something that is solid. A brand is a promise. A brand is like, even think Coca-Cola. People are not Coca-Cola. We are not
People didn't like it when they changed their formula.
Well, exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's like Coca-Cola is a thing. It's not a human being. And so if as a human being, and probably what I'd say is that to give a little bit more agency to the influencer of all of this, influencers do profit off the brand model. Like, I don't think the idea that that it's just the internet turning you into a brand isn't true. We're turning ourselves into brands.
Yeah.
The same way, and we are making money off it.
And you almost have to be a brand to survive in this creator economy, in this attention economy. You have to, certainly to build a following.
So, yeah.
She had some choices there about how to handle what she was doing. Because if she had built a substantial brand around the fact that her body looked a certain way and she was monetizing it, and she'd made a, fortune for herself, whoever, and what.
Well, she'd made a living. I don't know if she made a fortune.
Yeah, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
So she's created something.
Yeah.
And then she is changing that product. She had some choices. So she could have gone, I'm going offline for 6 months or a year, you're not going to see me. Or she could have gone, I'm taking you with me. None of those things are owed. Or she could go and do something else. Go and do something else entirely. Your only career options in the world are not being an influencer, right? But the thing is although I don't have any truck with the idea of people being mad with her for making a very personal decision to change her body, I also don't necessarily think that it's fair for her to be annoyed with people for being irritated by her, that their deal they've made with her is now changed.
I don't think she's annoyed. She said, in explaining it, she said, I had no idea what this operation would be like and the recovery from it mentally, emotionally, physically. And she said, I'm so upside down about it all. Like, I'm in a different body. I'm in the world. I'm so processing it still.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know what to even say.
If you are looking at someone else's body, someone else's behavior, someone else's attitude to their own body to give you confidence, that's going to break your heart. Like, in the same way that investing in a brand or believing that someone is a brand, that like they're going to let you down. Everyone's going to let you down because they are going to change. And I read a comment that was like, it's almost akin to your favorite TV show changing genres.
Yep.
And if they were to do that, if Succession were to come out and be a horror show,
yeah, it's all like when your favorite, or when Beyonce does a country album.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I don't want country from Beyonce.
Yeah, so, and the audience gets to choose that. I think that the difference is the level of vitriol and the demands.
I think that entitlement's interesting too, because she was saying, I don't know what I think about it. I'm not ready to give you this, to unpack this in real time.
It reminded me actually of...
and yet she said that on a podcast with Khloe Kardashian. So come on, I'm a little bit cynical about it. Like, she literally could live a private life. You have... I'm not criticizing this woman, I know, so this is an all or nothing for me. I literally had never heard her name, so I'm not, but just based on purely what you've told me, the only thing, I have all the sympathy in the world for her to do whatever she wants to do, but I don't think it's unreasonable for people to be like, oh, I thought you were one thing and now you're another, and then for the person at the centre of that to be like, this is so unfair. She could go do something else.
I don't think she's saying it's so unfair.
No,
I think
she
she's
might
just
not be saying that. Sorry.
Yeah.
She might not be saying that, but I mean, as a concept, like, you can't control everybody else's reaction.
Of course not, but I think that this is a whole new world. Like, she didn't mean to become an influencer. Like, influencers are a fairly new profession, and I guess in some ways they're role models, and And the point is that, and we experience this as content creators as well, sometimes you put something out, you create content and put it out in the world, and dealing with everybody else's reaction to what you've put out in the world is a whole other thing.
Because a brand, Naomi Klein says, being a brand means to create a self that is at a distance from ourself, a self to be consumed by others. A brand is not what you are. A brand is how others see you. So she was being seen as something that she wasn't even. It's like how we see people has way more to do with us and what we're projecting.
It's also about the aspiration though, right? Because being famous on the internet is a modern aspiration. And what you see over and over again, and this story seems to be another version of this, and we've all experienced this in different ways, but what you see happening over and over again is somebody will come out, rise to great follower numbers on whatever platform they're on, and everybody's excited about them because they're so fresh and revealing and authentic and all those things. Then everybody discovers the cost of that, which is enormous.
And they want to pull back.
You build an audience by engaging with your audience, right? That's how you do it, literally. And then suddenly that engagement, you realize that's a full-time job. It is exhausting taking on other people's opinions all the time. And you have to put up with people saying awful shit to you. Women who live in bigger bodies online cop so much abuse, even if they might be profiting from it, in inverted commas. They're also so you see over and over again that it happens, and then people go, I can't do this anymore, and they get off, and there's a new way.
Speaking
underneath.
of the cost, did you see Robbie Williams's post on Instagram this week? I thought it was so eloquent and insightful, and it was about having members of the public ask for selfies and how he grapples with whether or not it's his duty. So he wrote, there's a kind of unspoken law. As a celebrity, you should be accessible 24/7. Greet all strangers like you're the mayor of the best town anyone's ever visited. Make sure their wishes are met, whatever they are. Otherwise, you're a, and then he used the C word. And he said that the assumption is that these people are what built you. Like, and then for you to go and swat them away is ridiculous.
Are what built you.
Well, he says not necessarily, because a lot of the people asking for a photo couldn't name one of his albums, and really he's the Big Ben is how he says it. Like, you just want to come and get a photo with a landmark, but I'm not the Big Ben. I'm a human being who there is a cost.
I'm the small Robbie.
Yeah, and like it's so true. It's like every time someone comes up, and do we have a number? I've been in the situation where I've seen a famous person walk past and I've gone, oh, do I ask for a selfie? I'm going to regret not asking for a selfie.
You do what I did when I saw Robbie Williams at the ACTRA Awards. I got out my phone and I surreptitiously, he was in a public place, but I surreptitiously filmed him walking past and sent it to all my friends.
See,
why?
Because how often should that happen in a single day, right? Like Robbie's walking through his life. He
was on a red carpet.
That's different. Yeah. I'm talking about I'm at my local Westfield and someone walks past me, right? And I go, oh, I really admire that person. That person hearing that I admire them, not interesting for them. A selfie, like which is the new autograph, like do you ask for it? But how much does that person owe us to constantly engage, constantly be Robbie Williams? Because I was thinking about it in terms of the service industry, right? When I walk into a shop, that person is polite to me and puts on a smile, even when they're not feeling it. But that person then, clocks off. They then get to go home and they get to go to Woolies with their head down.
He gets to go back to his mansion that all the fans paid for.
No, but he's on the phone. He talked about it. He's on the phone to his mother who's got dementia, and he's talking to his wife about his dad who's got Parkinson's, and we have the right in our minds as the public to stop him at any moment and demand an interaction.
Yeah. I would never.
Really? You've never stopped a famous person?
Have I ever? No, but I don't know. Oh, yes, Adam Goods. I did. Adam Goods. I made him pose for a picture with my child once. That's true. I did. But I think you read the room, you work it out.
Yeah.
I would never. If Robbie Williams was on my plane, I would have a conniption because he's very famous to me, being an English person. But I wouldn't bother him. No, I would absolutely not bother him. But, and I know I sound like a terrible person, I do a little bit think it's the price of fame. I do. I think for movie star, and it's very different now. We were just talking about influencers, and I think that's a bit different somehow. But for movie stars and musicians, and maybe it's because I used to have a trashy job in celebrity mags, but they literally did build their mansions with your money. They literally did. The tickets that you paid for to see the thing, and I know there was an exchange there. They gave you a thing, but disrespecting your fans is not cool.
The other problem with selfies, though, is it's different to an autograph or even just coming to say hello, because you don't know what that person else posts on their social. You don't actually know who that person is. Yeah. And then they've got a selfie with your face and you're all over their feed next to some very questionable other things. So, you know, if you are famous or an influencer and your face is your brand, you do have to be careful.